Alright, how is everybody doing this evening? Welcome back to another video, and pretty much this is another specs comparison video with the Pixel 6a versus another competitive device. And that competitive device is a device that I've been hearing everybody talk about. Oh, the price is similar, the hardware is similar. Oh, these are definitely direct competitors. So I got them pulled up, and we're gonna run through the specs. I'm gonna give y'all my overall opinions based on what I've seen on paper and via the videos that I've watched from other content creators on YouTube. Because again, I'm doing these style of videos because I want to share my opinions, and I don't readily have the devices on hand. Otherwise, y'all know I will be doing a true versus slash comparison video, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to pick them up, put them through their paces, but until then, we gotta get it in where it's fitting and live vicariously through other really great content creators on YouTube. But that being said, let's get into this comparison. Let's not waste any time. Let's go. So what two devices am I talking about, y'all? That's right, y'all can see it on the screen. The iPhone SE 2022 or the iPhone SE, the third generation, versus the Pixel 6a. Alright, so let's go ahead and run through it, and let's start off with the price. So as you can see, we're using GSM Arena here again today. And you can see GSM Arena is quoting the prices directly from eBay. Okay, so you can get the iPhone SE 3rd Gen on eBay for $230, or you can get the Pixel 6a on eBay for $395. Keep in mind it doesn't include tax. Now, based on my research, I was actually able to find the iPhone SE 3rd Gen for about $430, and the Pixel 6a ranging in price from about $430 to $450. So these, in terms of price, stack up very, very nicely depending on where you get them from. But price is only one aspect of the story. Let's move on and let's compare specs. Alright, so moving on down, you can see in terms of carriers and band support, if we click on networks here, these two devices support all the bands for all the major carriers. So 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G are supported across both of these devices. Now keep in mind, when we talk about 5G, when it comes to Verizon, they have their own separate device because they run on a different band of 5G. But when we talk about sub-6 5G, both these devices cover that in spades. And both of these devices are available on Verizon with that variation of 5G. So at least when we talk about band support for the carriers, we got a tie right here. Okay? So again, in terms of pricing, it's pretty much a tie. In terms of band support, it's pretty much a tie. So let's keep it moving now. And now you can see in terms of release dates and availability, it's pretty much, they both got released in 2022. One in March and one in July. Okay? Now, talking about the bodies. Okay? Pretty much the SE 3rd generation recycled the body from the iPhone 8. Okay, they just changed the internals to more flagship internals. So it's got the same aluminum and glass body from the iPhone 8. Okay, whereas the 6a is just recycling the body from the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro, Pixel 6 Pro, not Bro, and bringing it down to a smaller size. Okay, so both of these devices recycled the bodies from previous flagships. And I gotta say, in terms of the look, I think both of these devices look really, really good. Okay? So in terms of that, you can pretty much call it a tie. That's personal preference. Now, moving on to the display and waterproofing, this is very important. We got ionized glass for the iPhone SE, and we got Gorilla Glass 3 for the Pixel 6a. Now, both of these devices support waterproofing at IP67, so they are fully waterproof and up to a meter of water for 30 minutes. Both of these devices do support contactless payments, but this is where the iPhone has the advantage with true NFC and Apple Pay and MasterCard support, whereas the Pixel 6a just has NFC, just the basic NFC, so it will only work with terminals that support NFC, whereas the SE 3rd Gen will work on any devices that support Apple Pay or MasterCard support. Okay, so that's advantage iPhone right there. Now, moving on to displays, this is where we're going to see our first major difference. Now, in terms of the sizes, we got a 4.7 inch, so a really nice compact flagship device, versus a 6.1 inch, so a smaller, not so compact flagship device. Okay, and we get our next difference in terms of the display technology. So as I said, the SE 3rd Gen is pretty much recycling the hardware with a bump with a bump to the internals and a bump to the cameras from the iPhone 8. So again, we got the same IPS LCD display with the same strange resolution, with the same 326 pixels per inch, going up against an OLED HDR display on the Pixel 6a. Did that just rhyme? OLED HDR display on the Pixel 6a? I think it did. Hashtag barbs. Okay. And honestly, this is where the Pixel 6a, in my opinion, pulls ahead. OLED technology is just leaps and bounds better than IPS technology. And not just that, you're getting a bigger display overall. Okay? Because a lot of us nowadays, we use our devices for more than just phone calls, more than just GPS navigation, more than just taking pictures or videos. We pretty much use our devices to do everything. So you really want a small, compact device, but you want a big enough display to consume media. Okay, so 4.7 inches, in my opinion, although that's nice and compact and very one-hand friendly, especially if you have small hands, you really want to be looking at something at a minimum of 5.5 inches. If you're going compact, you want to go a maximum of 6.1 inches. So 4.7 is a little bit too small if you're going compact flagship, in my opinion. 5.5 inches would have been perfect for the iPhone SE 3rd generation. So honestly, they should have recycled the iPhone 8 Plus and upgraded that hardware, and that would have been the perfect screen size, in my opinion. Okay? But at least when we talk about displays, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing on paper and what I've seen in videos, I'm going with the Pixel 6a. Okay? Now, moving on, let's talk internals here. Now, both of these bad boys are packing flagship chips from their respective brands. So the SE 3rd generation is packing the A15 Bionic, whereas the 6a is packing the Google Tensor chip. And you can see these are both 5nm chips, and these are both flagship chips. So you're going to get flagship performance no matter which device you decide to go with. Okay? And both of these devices are running on the latest version of software from their respective brands. So that being said, the SE 3rd Gen is iOS 15.6, although you can load up the iOS 16 beta And the Pixel 6a is Android 11, although you can load up the Android 13 beta. So you can load up the latest available software on either of these devices, or you can stay with the latest publicly available software on either of these devices. So the software aspects just come down to personal preference. Now, talking to somebody that has had the opportunity to experience both brands' software, I have to say it's a tie. There's just something to be had for having the simplicity and smoothness on an iOS device. Once you get it down, it just works and you know where everything is going to be. That being said, there's something also to be said for the simpleness and simplicity on the software on the Pixel 6a, but also it gets the one up because you can fully customize the software on the Pixel 6a because it's Android. So you can completely customize the software to exactly how you want it to look. And that being said, in terms of OS performance, you really have to be tied in to the Apple ecosystem to get a seamless experience across your tablet or your desktop, so on and so forth. Whereas with the Android experience, you don't need to be fully tied into all Google devices or all Android devices. It will work seamlessly across your laptop or your desktop or your tablet, and you don't necessarily have to be running the same version of software or similar versions of software. So at least in my opinion, although it's a tie, I will admit you can do more on Android than you can do on iOS, at least in my opinion. But again, that comes down to personal preference and what you think you're going to enjoy over the other. I would always recommend you try both for an extended period of time before you make your decision. It's not going to hurt anything to try both and really experience it before you pick a side. Or you don't have to pick a side. You can rock both like I do. Okay? But software wise, it's a tie. Now, let's get into the internals and RAM and storage and the cameras. Now, talking about the memory, the iPhone SE 3rd Gen can go all the way up to 4 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of onboard storage. Again, similar to the iPhone 11, this adds $50 to $100 depending on the storage variant that you're going with. Okay, so if you want to make this very similar in spec, you would go with the mid variant, which is 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. That lines up perfectly with the 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage on the Pixel 6a. So instead of 230 or 430, you're looking at something like 430 and 50, 480, okay? Or you're looking at something like 230 and 50, about 280 to 480 versus the 450 on the Pixel 6a. All right. So again, very close in price, but the iPhone does end up being more expensive. Okay, so you're actually saving a little bit more money by going with the Pixel 6a. Okay, now moving on though, you do get a wider range of storage and availability with the iPhone, starting at 464 and going all the way up to 256, whereas you only get one option with the Pixel 6a, 128. Okay. Now, in terms of internal technologies, again, it's 2 different versions of software, so it's really a wash. And as I said, iOS software is just buttery smooth, and you're talking to someone that's having a iPhone 6, iPhone 6s, a iPhone 10, okay, an iPhone 10R, an iPhone 10s, and an iPhone 11, or I'm getting the iPhone 11 soon. Okay, so there's that. So, and honestly, it's been smooth throughout. Honestly, I miss my iPhone XR. That was my favorite device. The colors, the smoothness in software, the solid camera performance. I miss that device. Okay, but in terms of internal storage speeds, both of these are going to be very fluid and snappy, so that's a tie. Now let's get down to the all-important cameras. Now on the SE, we got one 12 megapixel sensor. That's an upgrade in the hardware from the original, I think it was 8 megapixel sensor on the iPhone 8 or something like that. So you do get upgraded cameras with the SE 3rd gen, okay? But you do get one more additional camera going with the 6A because you have a 12 megapixel primary on both, but you get a 12 megapixel ultra wide on the 6A. It's a seamless switching experience, switching between the primary and the ultra wide on the 6A. But both the primary cameras can record in up to 4K at 60 FPS and do slow motion at 1080p 240 frames per second. Now, where we get our first difference is with the secondary selfie cameras. Now, both of these max out at a recording resolution of 1080p 30 FPS, but you can see here we can do slow motion on the iPhone up to 120 frames per second. We just get 1080p 30 FPS on the Pixel 6a. But we do have a difference in the camera size and the megapixels. So we get a 7 megapixel camera on the 3rd gen SE, whereas we get an 8 megapixel camera on the 6a. And you can see the sensor sizes and f-stop is a little bit different there. But honestly, based on what I'm seeing, both of these cameras are phenomenal. Whether you're using the front-facing cameras for your selfies or you're using the primary rear-facing sensors, both of these cameras are phenomenal. Now, I will say this. In terms of camera software features, you do get more software features with the Pixel 6a, so that is a slight leg up. But in terms of cameras, based on what I've seen through the videos, I would have to say it's a tie. Alright? Alright. Now, moving on, they both have stereo speakers, so one bottom volume speaker and one front facing speaker built into the receiver grill. They both don't have 3.5mm headphone jacks, but the Pixel 6a, similar to what Samsung does, gives you the ability to use Bluetooth audio to capture your audio with the cameras. Much like if you have a Samsung Galaxy device, you can go into the cameras and go into Pro mode and go into audio and configure the cameras to capture audio from a Bluetooth connected device. So I was really happy to see that Google implemented that software feature so you can do the same thing on your Pixel 6 lineup of devices. So whether you have the Pixel 6a, the Pixel 6, or the Pixel 6 Pro, you do have built-in Bluetooth audio support from the stock camera application. So that's a leg up for the Pixel, at least in terms of camera and overall software features. Okay? At least in my opinion. But overall, if we're going shot for shot, photo for photo, it comes down to personal preference, and I think both of these cameras did a really good job. Really good indeed. Now you can see they both have pretty up-to-date Wi-Fi, they both have almost up-to-date Bluetooth, so on and so forth. And as I said, they both have NFC, but slightly different variations of NFC. You can do more with your NFC on the iPhone than you can on the Pixel 6a. Okay? Alright, now they both have fingerprint sensors. With the iPhone, you're rocking the Touch ID, whereas with the Pixel 6a, you got your under-screen optical fingerprint sensor. And in all honesty, talking to somebody that's experienced the Touch ID on the iOS device is just better. that physical sensor is super more reliable than the optical sensor on the Pixel 6a. But the fact that the Pixel 6a sensor is underneath the display means that you can have a bigger display, although you do lose out on reliability. So in terms of fingerprint scanner performance, you get a more reliable sensor in the iPhone, but you do get a bigger display on the 6a, even though the sensor is not as reliable. So again, just try them out, and whichever one you like better, that's what I would say go with. But they both get the job done at the end of the day. But if I have to be honest, the physical sensor on the iPhone is just better. Okay? Now moving on here, we're going to get down to the final part here, which is where we talk about battery, charging speeds, and other charging features. So for your iPhone 3rd gen, it has and that's kind of funny, a 2018 milliamp hour battery. Kind of funny, Apple. You went back to 2018 to get that battery size. I'm playing. So a 2018 milliamp hour battery on the iPhone 3rd gen versus a 4410 milliamp hour battery on the Pixel 6a. Okay, so you're getting a slightly bigger battery on the Pixel 6a. And if I'm being honest, a lot of people whose videos that I've watched, they said the battery life on the iPhone SE 3rd gen is just okay. So that being said, everybody else said the battery life on the Pixel 6a was good enough to get you through a day. So just okay versus being able to get you through a day. Did that rhyme again? Hashtag bars. I know which one I would go with in terms of battery and daily performance. But again, your results may vary depending on how you use the device. But there is a noticeable difference there in battery sizes. And we're going to get to our next big noticeable differences here when we talk about charging technology and features. So the Pixel 6a only has 18-watt wired charging with the reversible USB Type-C charging port and USB Direct Power Delivery 3.0. Whereas on your iPhone SE 3rd gen, you're rocking the Lightning cable, which has always been reversible, but you also have 20-watt fast wired charging. Okay, so it's 20 watts versus 18 watts, but you also have 7.5 watt wireless charging. Okay, and that to me is phenomenal because y'all don't know how convenient it is to have my wireless charger set up on my nightstand and come in at the end of the day, get ready to go to bed, and you just drop the device on the wireless charging pad. You make sure it's charging. You go to bed, you wake up the next morning, your device is fully charged and ready to go, as opposed to having to fight with cables and make sure it's plugged in and then put it down and then go to bed. Now that's a little bit alleviated because both of these devices have reversible cables, so that's kind of alleviated, but just the struggle of having to line something up and plug it in versus just making sure it drops on the wireless charging pad and the light goes on so you know it's charging, that's a big advantage to the iPhone 3rd gen in my opinion. Okay? And it does have the advantage in charging speeds, but if you think about it, it has the drastically smaller battery, so it was going to charge faster regardless. So it's kind of a wash when we talk about wired charging, but the big thing here is it does have wireless charging. That being said, now that we went through all of the specifications here, let me give my thoughts here. Now, I had to make this video because I hear a lot of people trying to compare these devices in terms of price and performance, and honestly, although they are comparable, they're really not. Okay, you're talking about a super compact flagship device versus a smaller flagship device. There's really no comparison. You're talking about an IPS LCD display versus an OLED display. Again, there's no comparison, okay? There really isn't. So to me, although a lot of people are comparing these devices, I gotta say it, and this is just my opinion, don't do that, okay? Because these two devices are made and marketed towards two different types of people, okay? And if I'm being honest, I'm gonna tell you those types of people right now. The iPhone SE is marketed towards somebody that just wants an iPhone, although they're the type of person that's not going to be on their phone a lot, but they do want the convenience and performance of the iOS software. They want the reliability of having really solid cameras, so they know when they do pick up their device, they're going to get some really solid cameras, and they know they don't have to worry about software security for at least 5 years. That's who the iOS 3rd Gen SE is marketed for, okay? So you don't use your device a lot, but when you do pick it up, you get things done, and you're okay with the fact that the battery life is just okay. You don't use it often, so it's still good enough to get you through the day. Whereas your Pixel 6a is marketed towards somebody that wants a downscaled version of the flagship performance from the Pixel 6 Pro and the Pixel 6. And they don't want to spend as much money as going with those other two devices. And when we say that, that means we're looking at somebody that's really into cameras, so they take a lot of photos, they do record a lot of video, and they use their devices heavily to get things done. Whether that's dictating a lot of text messages, dictating a lot of emails, and that's where the Tensor chip excels, because that voice recognition is top notch. And along with that, because they take so many photos and videos, they really take advantage of the software that the Pixel cameras offer. So Magic Eraser, Audio Enhancer, all those things like that, and they take advantage of the ultra wide cameras, the stabilization in video, all that good stuff. Okay, so again, as I say, these are marketed towards two different types of people, so everybody respectfully stop comparing them. Okay, stop it, stop it. All right, now that being said, that's just my 2 cents. I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. I hope y'all found it helpful. If you did, you know what to do. Please help your boy out by giving the video a thumbs up. That really does help me out. You don't know how much. As always, if you guys and gals would like to see more content like this, please hit that subscribe button down below and make sure you click off that notification bell icon right next to it so you guys and gals get notified when new videos go live on the channel. Also, feel free to follow me across all the social media platforms. This way you're guaranteed to get notified when new videos go live, because I do post the videos across all of social media. That being said, if this video did pique your interest and you would like to know where you can pick up either device at some really great prices, all the affiliated buy links for the featured devices will be available down below in the video description. And as the name implies, those are affiliated links, meaning that I do get a small percentage of kickback when you guys and gals use those links, but that's at no additional cost to you guys and gals. Okay, so that's a win-win for everyone, in my opinion. Okay, this video here this evening was recorded using the screen share feature on the iPhone XS. Okay, I'm probably gonna render it in 720p. That's what it's gonna be. So y'all let me know what y'all think of the audio capture capabilities and the overall screen grab here. As always, all your feedback is greatly appreciated. And let's get into a nice, respectful conversation about both of these devices down below in the comments. I'll meet you guys and gals down there. And remember to keep it respectful, please. That being said, although I said do not compare these devices, do you guys and gals think these devices are comparable? Let's have that conversation. Let's have that discussion. respectfully down below in the comments. Again, I'll meet you guys and gals down there. I hope everyone is having a great evening. Hope you guys and gals are staying safe. And I will catch everyone in the next one. We are out of here. Have a good one, everybody. Peace. Yeah, man, this is a no-brainer for me. If I was gonna pick up a compact iPhone, I would have to go with an iPhone that's at least 5.7 inches, 5.5 inches, my mistake, because that's the perfect screen size in my opinion. Okay, not 4.7. That's a little bit too small. So maybe if they do recycle the iPhone SE for the 4th gen and they use the 8 Plus body, that would be a lot more appealing to me because that's that 5.5 inch device, and they can pack in a bigger battery. Because come on, Apple, 2018 milliamp hours, no. Okay, but again, that's just my 2 cents. Have a good one, everybody. We're out of here. Peace.